Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
Hello, I'm Abby Ehler, and this is The Sailing Show on Wisp Sports Radio. The Sailing Show is a co-production between the Magenta Project and Wisp Sports, aiming to increase the coverage of women's sport. On this episode, I'll be chatting with someone who's recently stepped into the history books, becoming the first female skipper to win the grueling Clipper race. Wendy, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
The Clipper race, it's a race around the world. It's the only race that's open to non-professionals and gives them the chance to conquer the Everest of the seas. It's the brainchild of Sir Robin Knox-Johnson. Just tell us, what drew you to this race?
I've been working on Sydney Harbour for a long time, teaching and being a skipper on charter boats and stuff, and doing deliveries up and down the coast. And I just wanted another adventure, so I thought that's an adventure I can tackle, stupidly. And I had a friend who'd done it and raved about it, so I thought the time was right to go and do it.
Excellent. And competing in the race is one thing. You skippered the yacht. Not only once, but twice. I mean, there's not many people that have done that. And in 2018, you secured the win with your team, Sanya Serenity Coast. As a skipper, was it your goal to build from that previous experience from the 14-15 edition?
Yeah, absolutely. When you first, wherever you're leaving from, the first race we left from London, and you think, I'm about to take a crew that I don't really know that well around the world, it's pretty daunting. So I learnt a lot from that by breaking it down into steps. And in that second race that I did, the second lap, I just built on my knowledge from what I learnt. You have so much at the back of your mind that you're worrying about that you don't need to, but you don't know at the time. But the second race I did, and I had the added benefit of knowing the boat so much better, which was huge at the start of the race. It was a massive advantage to myself and the team, so really did build on that first race, absolutely.
And at what point during that race did you realise that a win was possible?
When we crossed the finish line on the last race.
Serious?
I'm so superstitious. It was quite tough because they introduced the joke of this race, which is you get double points for that result in that race that you choose to play it. Nikki, who came second, played on the last race. We were just starting to go slower a bit. We couldn't figure out why, and we knew we had to beat Nikki. Some of the team had worked out if she'd beat us by so far and we were so far behind her, she'd beat us. So the guys were doing the calculations the whole race. I didn't even get involved in that. I'm quite superstitious, so we were never allowed to use the W word, win, on the boat. We always wanted to do well. But it was always at the back of my mind that I wanted to do better. To start off with, I said I wanted a top 4 position, but at the back of my mind it was always going hard and going as better than top 4. So. But didn't until I crossed the finish line and got confirmation, then I thought we'd win.
And I think you said in an interview at the finish that it hadn't quite sunk in what you've achieved. I mean, we're now 6 months away from that finish. Has it sunk in what you achieved?
No, I don't think so. It's hard. I don't think so. It's like talking about it a lot, it does start to sink in, and then every now and then you have a quiet moment, you think, oh, we won the race, which is pretty cool. So it's still sinking in the whole time.
And it was fantastic to have Nikki, also a fellow female skipper, and in fact the youngest ever to skipper a boat, who was hot on your heels with Visit Seattle. I mean, was there a lot of camaraderie between the two of you, or competition?
A bit of both. Camaraderie, we were always really happy when each other did really well, but you like that with all the other skippers as well. But I was just so happy for Nikki and her team, because she's so young and such a good skipper. And she sent me, even before I thought about signing up to skipper the second race, she sent me an email with a list of questions asking for advice and stuff. And I didn't know anything about her at the time. It was just a random email, so I didn't know her age. But by reading that email, there's no way I would have picked her at 23. No way in the world. She was just so far ahead of her age, in maturity and experience. So it was amazing to have her second.
Well, it's fantastic, and it'll be great to see where she goes from here.
Yeah.
One of the things that sets this race apart from others is that the crew are mostly amateur sailors. It's their adventure of a lifetime for them, and and with that, many of them may not have sailed much. They may decide that, I guess, that they hate it at sea, or I mean, how do you manage that complexity of the matrix of the crew is so different in age or background or career or expectations even?
Yeah, that's the real tough one, is trying to get everyone on an equal playing field where we want the same goal. I had some guys that were really good sailors on board in both races, particularly the second race. I had a lot more experienced guys, which showed. So obviously their expectations are so high, and then you've got people who are having a year off. One guy signed up to give up smoking. He hated being on the boat, but he was a fantastic engineer. In the end, he loved it. So trying to get those two to meet was the hardest thing, and that's why we sort of all agreed on a top 4 position. That worked, and then once we had that first win on the first leg, on second on redress, everyone's expectations got higher, so it sort of dragged everyone up and tried harder. So we were really, really lucky that we did gel that way, but that is the hardest part, trying to find that equal ground for everyone.
I'd imagine, just finding that balance between a happy crew and keeping everyone on the same line of attack.
Oh, absolutely. You have someone saying you're pushing too hard and someone saying we're not pushing hard enough, so it's really difficult to manage, but we do it somehow.
And in terms of crew changes, did you have a lot of crew changes throughout the race?
A fair bit. We didn't lose a lot of crew, so we started off with 10 round the worlders. One pulled out halfway, which is quite low compared to a lot of the other boats and generally a trend. So we had 9 round the worlders by the end. And a lot of people just signed up for more legs. So we did have a few people doing multiple legs. Probably an average about 4 crew every leg would be changing.
Right.
Sometimes maybe a bit more. So
that must have a huge impact on the dynamics. I mean, you were at sea for weeks on end. I mean, how do you mould those changes?
You'd have a buddy system, so it's really hard. We'd go out and do a training day, but usually that's not with the whole team. But whenever I could, I'd get the whole team out together. So we'd all go out for a day, because normally the new joiners just go out and you might be 2 boats combined, just to go through safety and man overboard drills and all the safety drills and everything. Some people might have stepped on a boat for a year, so learn how to sail again. But if I had the opportunity, I'd get the whole team out as one, which wasn't always, we couldn't do it at every stopover, just because that helped gel everyone. And we'd always have a dinner before everyone got on the boat, just so everyone could meet each other, because some guys hadn't met before. They'd done different training weeks, so they might never have met. And on the boat we'd have a buddy system, so you'd have someone you could go and talk to, or who'd be looking out for you and stuff. So that is hard. The toughest part is the first few days when you're racing hard because it's the start of the race, and you've just got your regular crew have been on doing all the jobs, so the new guys are feeling a bit, I don't know what to do, I'm getting pushed out. And you just got to keep reassuring everyone, you will get a chance to steer, you will get a chance to go up there and change head sails. Don't worry, you will get up there getting cold and wet, but we're just using the guys who have done it first, because now's the important time at the beginning. So generally let everyone do everything, but not in the first few days, but let them know that it will happen.
Yeah. And was there any particular moments that really stand out in terms of sort of crew situations, having to put any issues that came about with crew, or
there was one leg from the second race we had a really bad race, and it was just the crew dynamics were really horrible. Just one person got on and upset everyone. There was an argument on the boat which we'd never had before, which is quite amazing for 33 days at sea, and that just whole changed everything. And it was my problem. I didn't deal with it early enough. I should have knocked it on the head and didn't realise how bad it was, because you don't see everything when you've got 22 people on a boat. So that made me more aware of what was going on. So it was really quite amazing how it affected the whole crew work, everything. We just had a really bad race, and a lot of it was because there was no crew harmony there, which I should have worked out a lot earlier.
Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, it's just such a unique situation to be, a leader of such a mixed group, and you're in each other's pockets when you're at sea. There's no getting off.
There's no room. There's no privacy. Your privacy is your bunk with your eyes shut. That's it. So it's quite amazing.
Wow, a full-on experience.
Do you like private, or could I check the bar?
So,
one thing that I really liked that you said at the end of the race is, you said, if one little girl sees it can be done and has a go, that will be what matters to me. I mean, explain what you meant by that, and why is that so important?
what made me think of that is a guy from my first crew, his daughter and son, they're only under 10, followed us all the way around the first time, followed us all the way around the second time. And for her to have a girl coming first and second was no big deal. It was just natural that two women should be leading. It wasn't a big deal. So it's that sort of thing that it should just be a natural thing that a little girl picks up, go sailing, go, oh yeah, I can sail around the world and skip a boat around the world. It shouldn't be a big deal. It should just be a natural thing if you want to do that. I can't wait till there's, one day it might happen. There'll be an equal number of female skippers out there, or sailors even. So if it inspires one person to go sailing, that's all that matters really.
And do you think, how do we bridge that gap? I mean, how do we get more women involved in sailing and seeing that there are great opportunities to be had, but obviously we're still very the numbers are still very low, and it's often really hard to get opportunities to sail in big boats. And I mean, what do you think needs to happen? Or
I don't know, it's a tough one. I think about it a fair bit, and I think what women do a lot, we put up our own barriers as well. We think, oh, it can't happen because it hasn't happened, and you've just got to be so positive and think I can do not whatever I want, but within reason, you can do whatever you want pretty much. So you've just got to be positive. And it's some advice that I got given by an ex-boyfriend. I got on a boat doing a Hobart, maybe my first or second Hobart or something. I was sailing on a boat, the only girl on the boat, with a crew that I didn't really know. He just said, you'll get the guys on there the first 24 hours, they'll be lifting heavy things and doing all the hard work. You just stay your same level and just keep working the whole time. He said, don't go up there and try and outpace anyone, just hard work the whole time at your own level. And when everyone else is getting sick or tired, because you pace yourself, you'll still be, at the end of the day, working hard. And I think that was the best advice I got, there's things go wrong on a boat. On this one particular time, the saltwater impeller packed it in. I was an engineer. One of the guys said, oh, get in there and fix it. At the time I was driving a ferry, so I was used to changing saltwater impellers that big. He got down there and changed it. And then afterwards someone said, aren't you an MED? And I said, yeah. I said, why don't you do it? I said, jumped in first. I'm not going to push someone out the way and get dirty fingernails if I don't need to. But so it's that sort of, sometimes you do have to push, but you just got to know when to push and when not to, fight the battles that are important, and just believe in yourself and just keep pushing and asking and asking and asking. So I don't think there's an easy way. Yeah, if it was, it'd be a lot easier, wouldn't it?
And sort of moving on from that, looking forward, you're going to be skippering Maiden in some of the legs as it journeys around the world as a platform for the Maiden Factor Charity, whose mission is to empower and facilitate education for girls who currently don't have that basic right. It's a really special project with a very powerful message, and I guess it carries on a little bit from what you've said there. I mean, it's going to be very different to what you've been doing. It's not competitive sailing, but it obviously has a huge mission. And what does the project mean to you?
Look, I can't wait to get on the boat. It should be the next couple of weeks I'm joining, or next week. What it means to me, I grew up in the western suburbs of Sydney, which you might know is out that way, a long way away from the water. Quite a poor area, housing commission, same as yours, which is, council housing. Mm-hmm. So nowhere near the sea, but I still had a good education. I think it was my education that made me open my eyes to what's out there in the rest of the world, and not stay in that area and move out. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but move out and see there's a whole world out there, and that comes from education. So I can see what it's done to my life, having an education. So it all starts with that building block, doesn't it? Education means confidence. You need to be confident to get on a boat and go sailing. Sailing's 80% confidence, isn't it? So you need that, and you get that from education. So that's why it's so important to me. And keeping, if you have a choice and you can go to school, go to school. Some of these people don't have a choice, so it's pretty cool.
Well, it's we're looking forward to seeing how the Maiden journey goes.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's going to be some very special stories coming out of that.
Yeah.
So, on a final note, we're here in Sydney. All eyes have really been on Sydney this week for the Sail GP. It's been the first inaugural event here. It's a super high-profile event, but how do you think an event like this showcases sailing as a sport to people, and in particular to women?
It's tough because there was only one female competitor, really tough, and I've heard stories of talking to one person yesterday who really tried to get onto a boat, who's an incredibly good sailor, sails an Acro 17s, really tried, didn't get on. It's just crazy, isn't it? So it's great for sailing as a sport. Even on Friday there were so many boats out there, spectator boats, which really surprised me. And working on the wharf yesterday, seeing the types of people coming to watch it, there was so many people you could tell who don't sail, so they were out there for the event of the thing. So I think it's a great thing. You know, Sydney always has great spectator for the Hobart race, so this is just at different levels, so it's great to open people's eyes to different facets of sailing and all different types of sailing. So it was a great event, and I think it's only going to do good things for sailing, I think.
Yeah, it definitely brings it's so different to something you're watching the start of the Sydney Hobart, watching these boats flying around on
that
foils.
was amazing. You know, as a sailor, it's amazing to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Wendy, thank you very much. It's been super interesting chatting to you, and we look forward to following your travels with the Maiden and whatever else the future holds for you.
Conversations from the world of women's sports. This is Wisp Sports Radio.
The vision of the Magenta Project is to be the worldwide organisation that enables women to have equal access and opportunities in the sport of sailing, empowering and inspiring women across the globe through supporting elite success. Its mission is to upskill athletes to enable them to reach the top of their sport, inspiring generations of female racing sailors and driving change within the sailing industry. Visit the website for more information and to learn about the latest projects, including the mentoring program, at themagentaproject.com. And be sure to follow on social media at the Magenta Proj, that's the Magenta PROJ, on Twitter and Instagram, and the Magenta Project on Facebook.